Hey everyone, welcome to the video. We are taking a look at some tips and tricks again, and there is no time to waste, so let's dive straight into it. This time we're talking about the much requested Overpass. Alright, so what we're gonna start with are the boosts on CT side, and yes, the meta shifted a little bit from the CSGO, and you can see it in the pro games. The way CTs are boosting to take short control or gain short information is different. There are generally two boosts that you really need to know right now on Overpass CT side, and those are these ones. So for example, this is the first one, which is commonly used, and this is a great way to play off angle and surprise terrorists when they're taking short, when they use flashes. Then you get to peek because this pillar is essentially covering you from all these flashes, so it's really easy. You can also peek down to the connector if you break up the door, and I saw some players even using this little off angle so they could like spot terrorists coming up close short, because they generally never spot there, and then they're basically never going to clear you. Another way to boost this, I actually use phase a lot, especially Robs, and this is that boost, so on the little bit left side, and I will tell you how it works. So first of all, you want to jump up on top of this terrorist, or CT in this case, silently, just by still crouching, and you're not going to show your head, and then you're going to, on random timings or whenever you feel like the timing is good, you're just gonna pop up and see whole short area or underground. So why is this boost a little bit better compared to, let's say, this one? This is like pretty known from here, is because you're going to offset yourself into an angle which is less expected, because you see terrorists are sometimes trying to creep up short and they pre-aim generally this area, but they're never gonna clear this area. So you get a little bit of element of surprise, plus you get to see this position, which is much easier to clear from this angle compared to this one. And this is just a generally nice way, when you look at the meta, how it shifted into CS2. This is how you get a lot of free kills, especially in Faceit. People are really lazy when it comes to clearing all these things on T side, so feel free to use it. Let's stay on the topic of these boosts. I actually forgot to mention one part, and that is if you're the guy who is boosting your teammate up. So for example, you would be CT crouching up here. Instead of just looking at your teammate, make yourself somewhat useful. So there are always timings where they can just creep up short and you can get a nice, like at least a duel to not be surprised. Or I see a lot of pro teams, they're holding a flash like this towards the barrels, and basically whenever a player that is holding monster feels like he's unsafe or he's being pushed, this flash is perfect pop flash for them, so they can, you know, swing on the monster. Basically, you're making yourself much more useful, and you're not purely out of the round, and you're just mindlessly spectating your teammate getting kills or being killed. Make yourself useful. And again, by the way, I forgot to show the flash lineup. Basically, you're going to be at the edge of this bump here, and then you're going to aim at the left of the pillar, roughly in this area. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's always basically going to cover the monster, and your barrels player is not going to get blind. It pops a little bit here. The line doesn't show it, but you know, it's CS2. While we're at the B side and we shifted our attention towards monster, let's talk about this part of the map, because I think it's quite interesting how it changed in CS2 compared to CSGO. And honestly, monster, if you're a monster player as a CT, you are being hated, because there's this part of the map received a lot of nerfs when it comes to CT side. So for example, there are less positions you can play on. No longer can be self-boosted up on these railings up here to have a nice off angle, either there or here. You are no longer able to do that. Also, they removed a slide position close to the monster, so they put this wood up here, so you cannot really serve up there and make yourself, you know, little bit surprise factor when the monster hit comes. Also, monster smoke is still pretty good generally, but you know, with the ability to break the smokes, you are really unsafe to play close to the smokes, because terrorists can do it on any timing, and this leaves a very little amount of positions that you can play, either this wood part here or pillar here or some sort of barrels. But you know, the meta evolves that people are double or triple nading these positions, so you are pretty much always in danger of being dead without ever seeing anyone. So how this monster changed a little bit? Well, it changed to a fighting position, and let me explain what I mean. So a lot of good anchors that I'm going to recommend, and I watch myself, for example, Impact or Floppy, they are playing monster a little bit more aggressive than this we are used to from CSGO. So instead of holding a position and playing reactive with the nades, they love to peek these deep angles. They love to take duels with the terrorists. They love to use the geometry of the map and this circular way of monster that is being shaped here into their advantage, because a lot of times when you're peeking, you're actually going to be an advantage against terrorists, and they are not really sure where you're going to peek from and on what timings. So this is what really good players are usually doing right now. I notice it, and if you're watching next time monster players on Overpass, let's say in a live game on a tournament, pay a little bit of attention how monster player actually bring fight towards terrorists and how successful he is compared to CSGO. Next thing I want to talk about is this little gap in the short sandbags. So a lot of players on Faceit, they don't even know this exists, but basically in CSGO you are able to see the legs of terrorists hiding behind these sandbags, and it's really useful to clear out, let's say in afterplans, or when you're retaking short. First you're gonna clear this because there's a gap in the sandbags, and this is pretty easy to spot. You're not even wallbanging him. I'm getting good amount of damage, but this gap now exists from this side as well. So if you ever have an AWP, or it's possible even with M4, you are able to see a terrorist outline right there. So right now I'm going to hit him for 84. This is a leg shot. It's not even a wall bang. So you can, I'm pretty sure if you play a bit from this position, you are able to find a shot that is instant kill with an AWP, and it's just free information you should always be able to take. If you see a terrorist there, he should be a free frag. So this was a 95 damage shot, he's 5 HP. So it's just free information, and a lot of people don't even know about this. So that's it, I'm sharing. There's a lot of things on this B side, but let's keep going, I guess. Well, what I noticed is actually this is a little bit new, and a lot of people don't know they can go on top of this railing right here. You can utilize it to many ways. You can even create some triple boost up here. It's really up to your imagination, but I found a really cool way, or I actually didn't find it, but I saw it live, and it was Norbert from VP, and he utilized this really well. He actually won 1v4 or 1v3 clutch against Natus Windsor like this, and here I'm going to show you the clip. Right now you can see it's 1v4, and he's about to retrieve a C4. He's gonna get a free frag on JL. Nothing too impressive so far, but he's going to actually, spoiler alert, win this round. And I dare to say mainly due to the trick that is included in this clip. So he's hitting a B side. He's going to hit a nice shot on bit, and let's see how he uses the smoke. The smoke is meant to obviously cover him from both CT and heaven, so he get closer to the side and actually plant the bomb. And as he was crossing there, he saw a gap in the smoke, which he's going to use right after he plants. Let's see how. So he's in a powerful position right now. If anyone was CT, he would get a kill on him. And this is powerful move, and it makes CTs guessing all the time. Plus he heard IM actually drop in the water, so this position is definitely something that will be overlooked. Great play by Norbert. And while I'm showing some of the clips from pro games, I'm going to keep doing just that for now, because I found in a demo completely randomly this insane wallbang from Torsi, and I didn't even know it is possible. Let's have a look. Like this is kind of insane. So this is the moment in the game 4-4 against FaZe where Torsi does this. He's bombarding them with nades, and then he decides to just go for a cheeky wallbang like that. So yeah, this is actually pretty easy to wallbang, and it's, yes, sure, Torsi had the information he's there, but it was pretty nice improvisational wallbang, I would say, because he kind of predicted that he's going to be boosted, etc, etc. But this wall is completely wallbangable, so you can find yourself a lineup that is going to work. It's always a little bit random where the terrorist is actually going to be positioned, but you can give it a shot sometimes. I don't think you can do it with M4. Actually you can, that's pretty impressive. It doesn't do too much damage, but at least when you dink him, you get like this free information. So feel free to use it. I didn't even know it's possible with M4, but glad I'm making this video, I guess. Now I know. One really important nade for T-side I want to talk about is the short control smoke. And this is kind of new, again, in CS2 with the volumetric smokes, but you're gonna get yourself stuck into the trash bin here, and then you're going to aim right here. The smoke is going to land on top of the short pipe, but it's going to extend very nicely, and it's going to deny all the molotovs that are landing usually from CTs, and you can work around this smoke really easily. The smoke is expanded and it's very, I would say, weak. I don't know how the correct term is, but basically any bullet that you shoot through it, you see pretty well where people are. So it's really nice to play around it as a T as well, because you can pre-fire a lot of positions, and if you feel unsafe, you can always pre-fire the next spot and see if the CT is actually there. So this is something that I see a lot of pro teams using. Again, this smoke is kind of meta right now because it gives you a lot of information and denies the information for CTs, because you can use it as a fake, you can use it as actual part of the short take. It doesn't really matter, but it's really comfortable and nice to play around these, you know, kind of edges of the weak smokes. For T side, I cannot understate how important the smokes are, and Overpass is a great map. It's a huge map, there's no skyboxes anymore. You can throw a lot of these smokes that help you fake or take map control from the T-spawn. So let's show you some of the most important ones. Okay, let's start towards A side. So if you want to smoke some mid smokes for mid take, this is middle smoke. So you come parallel to the railing here, and then you aim directly here. There's like a little dot that I see, but you can also reference a camera point and above this line, just a jump throw. And then the second smoke you're going to use is usually you use a reference this line and then middle of this pillar, jump throw again. So both of these smokes, this one lands in the main, this one in the divider. This is a little bit off meta right now, but I want to talk about this smoke a little bit. Be careful whenever you use it. Don't try to go balloons mindlessly, because CTs actually can spot you above this. If they jump up here, this is a cool play for you if you're CT, by the way. If terrorists are using this smoke a lot, feel free to jump up here. You're going to see terrorists coming here and they're not going to see you, because they're also clearing underground, and in general you are in an advantage. So these are the A smokes from the T smoke. Another smoke that is towards B this time is monster lurk smoke. So this is really popular for using as a pressure nade, because it makes CTs so uncomfortable to play around this bloom smoke. They can pop on the B players anytime, and it's generally very hard to hold and be ready for it. So how you throw it, you go next to the ladder, you go from this side, not from this side, and then you're going to not aim at this corner, but a little bit towards the right, and you just jump through it, and it's going to pass trucks nicely, get into the monster, and generally CTs are going to start the round by either smoking the monster or mulling, but your smoke is going to outlast that piece of nade or utility that they are throwing. So you can either use it for pressure, or you can actually pop in a monster pop with it. Another smoke that we already showed, but I'm going to just include it again, is the short smoke, and that is the one that we already discussed in this video. It's for the short pressure, but again, super useful, and I want to mention it again. And then for the B rushes, you have a heaven smoke, which is also pretty easy, but please practice it a little bit. You want to line up the wall like this, so you're just on the edge of it. Then you're going to follow this line, and you see the wood, so you're going to aim at the start of the wood on the right. Now you're going to run and jump throw once you hit this shadow. So it's going to look like this, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty consistent smoke. I think you will hit it most of the time when you follow this lineup. You will actually hit it all the time. You just need a little bit of practice. I myself was failing it a couple of times when I tried to find the smoke, but right now I'm pretty consistent with it. So this is what you need to use for those B rushes. Oh, and another one, I forgot last one, which is helpful for the underpass players, but that is a door smoke. And I believe you get yourself stuck in the ladder again from this side, and then you see the highest leaf. It's the first one. There are two kind of next to each other, and then there's a tower. So you aim at this one, you're just going to jump through it, and I believe this should be, yes it is, it's an instant door smoke, so it lets you play underpass instantly, because CTs, you know, they're going to break the door, they're going to spam you, and sometimes they're going to boost above here, and they're just going to free kill you because they see your legs. So this smoke is kind of essential part of the overpass T side right now, and all of these smokes are thrown directly from T-spawn. You can smoke even a couple of them every round. If you ask for the smoke from the teammates, you can organize it and implement it into your T-side defaults. Okay, so last little gimmick that I want to show, and this is complete theory craft. I haven't seen anyone really do this, but if you manage to successfully do this, please tag me or send it to me, because this is kind of nice. But overpass is sometimes very hard to retake, especially in faces, but also in pro games. And sometimes CTs resort to just saving. And if B side is taken by terrorists and CTs decide to save, this is a little play that you can try to do. And basically that's a boost right up here in the CT spawn. This was possible in CSGO, but with 3 people. Now you can do it with just 2. And you can see nicely, if you go further enough, to see all this part of the monster, and also a little bit of barrels. And this is generally the area where terrorists decide, all right, CTs are not going for the retake, let's just save in B lobby. And they are going to, you know, go from the water, and they're just going away, and now they're all the time exposed. And sometimes even from barrels, they're just going to leave. Sometimes they're just willy-nilly here trying to get the guns because they think the round is over, and they're pretty much right, but you can still get some nice damage done. And this is pretty easy. You can, this is obviously a wallbang because it goes through the railing, but it's still 73 damage headshot with an M4. With OB, you're going to one-shot people, and you can spam people pretty easily, and they are not even going to see you. So just so you know, this is how it looks for terrorists. There's not a chance that they will ever expect you up there. So feel free to use it. As I said, never seen anyone do this, but I theory crafted it just randomly with my team, and we never got to implement it, so I hope you guys will. Last trick I want to show is not really a trick, but it's like a little reminder that things change constantly, and something would work in CSGO is not going to work in CS2 that well. So for example, this is one of these positions, because in CSGO it was very powerful to sit here. Right now it's not that good. I'll explain why. So in CSGO, this circle part of the tunnels on Overpass was not solid. You could shoot through it without it being a wallbang. It registered as a full hit. So it was viable for you to sit here and wait for the legs of T's to appear and then just shoot them through the wall. Right now, you wouldn't be able to do that, okay? You are going to deal damage, but it's going to be very little amount of damage. So if you're sitting here, you are actually going to be visible to terrorists that are all the way entering into the pipe here. So you can see already a leg being up there. If you're ready for the terrorists or counter-terrorists being there, it's going to be very difficult to win the fight from the perspective of this model. So be careful about that, and especially sometimes you are able to spot them going into the position if you just, let's say, hold. Obviously monster should be smoked, but this is kind of thing that you need to be careful about right now. And this position is not that great, honestly, as of late, but maybe there's going to be some meta changes again that is going to make it more viable. Just a little heads up, this probably avoid it. I see some people taking actual duel like this with an M4 especially. It's kind of nice because terrorists, even though they have AK, they can't really headshot you that well. So you can go for a burst spam towards body, and they can do same to you. And they have AK, they're probably going to deal more damage, but you are more ready for that fight. So this is some things that I see people, and especially pro players, adapt with. And just a heads up, just a little note. Not a trick really, but you know, use it well.